Hi everyone, welcome to the Professional Development Days hosted by PS Puget Sound PMI. Thank you for your time to accelerate your studies and learning more about it. And so today's schedule, we are going to be navigating path to PMP to get better and learn more about PMP bootcamp and also to get more knowledge about PMP and be great in your careers, learning about it. So Ben is a great agile and coach that will be able to navigate present to us. And going through the schedule, you see, is session will be 4 to 5 p.m. And then also we will have gamings that in the Zoho. We are using a Zoho platform for today's presentation. So the one thing that we want to ensure is that this event will have video recording and photo capturing. So we just wanted to make you aware. And if you want to play along with the games, your profile needs to be made public. So that is little bit about the Zoho, the platform that we want to use. So we can, Wendy or anybody, can we start gaming now? So we will start the gaming, and if anybody wants to play along, it is an automatic thing. For every action that you do, you will accumulate points, and there is a microsite with which you attended this session. In the profile picture, you will see how many points you accumulated once we start the game. So for every action you do, you have the game, and at the end of the session, we will announce the 3 winners. So that's about the Zoho platform, and we want to welcome you. And I would like to introduce Ben, who will be our presenter for today. And welcome, Ben. Can you hear us? Ben is an active member of Project Management Institute, and he has been leading entity on project and portfolio and program management. He has a lot of experience. So we want to welcome Ben, and we are so fortunate to have him with us today to give us about the path to PMP and bootcamp. So welcome, Ben.
In then because he's in our there he is.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hi, Ben.
Hi there.
Welcome. Thank you for your time today.
Sure. Did you want to get started?
Yes.
Yeah, you can get started.
Excellent. So first off, folks, welcome to PMI Puget Sound 2024 Professional Development Days. Really excited on day 2 of this wonderful series, a mix of hybrid sessions. We had a wonderful keynote with Amber last night and a great overall social and networking opportunity. So if I didn't get a chance to meet you in person, I apologize. Look forward to connecting with each and one of you, either on LinkedIn, through the chat. Hopefully we can have some engagement, and certainly I'll be make myself available to you folks here at the chapter as I'm local to the area. So let's kind of jump right into it. I'm here today to talk about navigating through the path to the PMI, or Project Management Institute's Project Management Professional, or PMP exam certification, and what that journey looks like. The chapter, the board, as well as myself are here to accompany on this education journey. If you've already been certified in prior versions of the Project Management Book of Knowledge, this would be a great refresher, if you would, as the exam has changed multiple times in the last decade. It'd be a great way for you folks to educate your fellow peers, network if they're interested on their PMP or CAPM journey. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to understand what type of eligibility requirements it takes to sit for the Project Management Professional or PMP exam. And believe it or not, there's a mini project involved. When you apply for your PMP, there's going to be a application process. So we'll talk a little bit about that and what that entails. And finally, developing effective test preparation strategies. So hopefully that can be a bilateral conversation with the team on the call today in terms of questions and answers. And I also want to give you insights, just looking forward on your kind of professional and academic journey. What happens after you pass the exam? Believe it or not, we don't need to necessarily recertify, but there's professional development units that we need to obtain to maintain our certification. So can speak to that a little bit. So yeah, really, hopefully we can make this informational session with opportunity for some questions and answers amongst the team. So myself, as I introduced myself, Benjamin Yuan, PMP, been involved with the Project Management Institute for just about a decade now. Spent a majority of my volunteer time in the Hawaii chapter in the middle of the Pacific, where I was a volunteer, like many of the great people that are putting on this production today, on our programs and professional development team. I went on to become a PMP instructor, ran the professional development programs there, and then most recently served as their chapter president. And I moved to the greater Seattle area a year ago, and currently looking more to get involved with the local chapter here and serving as your local PMP instructor and advisor if you're looking to get certified. So I'm here for you as well. And more questions will come, I'm sure, and we can definitely address those during the Q&A session. So I want to get to know a little bit about you folks a little bit more in terms of, you can engage in the chat. If you could introduce yourself in terms of your name, where you're from, maybe what type of role you're in. And if you are potentially aspiring to get your PMP, if you could share when you're planning to get your PMP, that would be extremely helpful. So give me a gauge of where you folks, or when you folks want to get certified. So feel free to plop that into the chat. So I'll be capturing that as we get along. I look forward to getting to know each and one of you. All right, let's kind of keep going here. So a lot to unpack on this slide. I want to review the requirements for applying for the PMP with you all. This may or may not have changed since, you know, if you're already a PMP holder, requirements could have changed over time, certainly. So for education requirements, you could fall into two categories. So if you have a secondary degree, like a high school diploma or an associate's degree, that will require 5 years of project management experience. If you have a 4-year or bachelor's degree, as well as any advanced degree like a master's or a doctorate, that would require 3 years of project management experience. One thing to note for these, whether it's 3 or 5 years of project management experience, you don't necessarily have to carry the title of project manager, but you need to have participated on the project either as a team member, stakeholder, and we'll cover more about those specific requirements and how you can figure out eligibility when we get into the application portion, where we kind of attest your involvement with the said project within your career. So aside from the education and project experience, there's a third requirement, which is the 35 hours of verified project management education or training. One example, or very popular example of qualified 35 hours of project management education would be like a PMP bootcamp sponsored by a local project management PMI chapter like Puget Sound. So we can cover that. There's also other verified avenues that you folks can do if you want to self-study and so forth. So hopefully I can address some of those during the Q&A. I have a short video for you folks.
As we adapt to new ways of working and prepare for future disruption, organizations will see a growing need for skilled project managers. The PMI 2022 jobs report showcases emerging sectors and trending industries where project leaders can find opportunities to drive growth and innovation in every region of the globe. Countries in the Asia-Pacific region expect their economies to grow in 2022. Meanwhile, talent is in high demand in many countries and industries. While China's economy has experienced a slight slowdown, a number of factors should contribute to increased project activity, including consumer spending increases and China's energy transition plan. Supply chain disruption and rising energy prices, along with rapid digitalization, are driving an increased demand for project professionals in Europe, especially in IT. The current conflict in the region will have long-term humanitarian and economic consequences that will require response. There has been a spike in demand throughout Latin America for project managers, particularly in the technology and manufacturing sectors. Rebounding oil pricing, government investment in high-profile mega projects, and international events like Expo 2020 Dubai and the 2022 FIFA World Cup promise to reinvigorate the region's economy and need for project managers. The Great Resignation and supply chain problems have put job seekers in high demand in the US and Canada as companies look toward automation and digitization to protect against future disruption. Despite the pandemic, the global demand for products manufactured in South Asia has continued to increase over the past 2 years. As a result, companies are willing to invest more in project managers with strong innovation and leadership skills. Nearly a third of global aid, roughly $32 billion, is spent in Africa, and that's fueling new development jobs across the region, up to 45% of which will need project talent. The demand for project talent is high around the world. Are you ready to take your career to the next level?
Hopefully that video got you excited, reinvigorated in regards to, prepping for the exam. I'm going to go back for a quick second here. We talked a little bit about, from the video, what we call project economy. That is a term that PMI coined during our 50th anniversary transformation, and it describes the work that we do, which is a good introduction to the PMI organization. So, in summary, earning your PMP essentially means being part of the PMI community, globally recognized and demanded. The PMP certification is the mark of experience, education, as well as competency for leading and directing projects. Once you pass the exam, you maintain the credential by obtaining professional development units, or PDUs. This is similar to, if you think about like a certified public accountant, a CPA exam, and the professional development unit requirements to maintain that certification. It's very similar. All right. What I have showing here, this slide introduces the exam and the concept of the PMI talent triangle. And this focuses on a few domains. First being people or power skills, process, which are ways of working, and business environment or business acumen. Okay, I'm giving you folks a crash course. This is exactly what you would be exposed to within the first 5-10 minutes of the exam prep or boot camp. So we'll follow this guideline or guidance of both the PMI talent triangle as well as the PMP exam content outline when you go through your certification or exam prep. And as I mentioned, this focuses on the specific points of people or project leadership, process, how we do the work, as well as business environment, or how project managers and teams are leaders in an organization that supports strategic goals and business health. If you notice, there's some percentages here. The percentage allocations refer to the percentage of actual exam questions devoted to the triangle side or the exam content domain area, and really just tie back to the percentage split of the exam. And if you're wondering, let's jump right into it. What does the exam format look like, right? This new version of the PMP exam, the one that we are currently in, went live in January 2021. It is in a multiple choice format. There's 180 questions with 230 minutes to complete the exam. If you do the kind of mental math, there's just under 4 hours. So it is a long test. You have the option of taking breaks if you sign up to take the class on our computer online proctor tests. I highly recommend considering taking at a test center where it is monitored exams, and you can have multiple breaks there as well. So there's some benefits. As I mentioned, there are multiple choice, multiple response. You're able to mark questions for review and come back to them. When we get into, if you decide to go through like a boot camp or a practice exam, it would replicate the look and feel of how the actual exam is administered. Let's keep going here. In terms of the exam content outline, if you're curious, like what does the PMP test and content entail? This is kind of broken down into 6 lessons. Again, business environment kicks it off, where we learn the foundational aspects of project management, organizational, as well as business concepts that are integral to your role as a project leader. Logically starting the project, right at the beginning, we discuss what you need to think about right at the beginning in the pre-planning stage. So we think about our stakeholders, your project team, how to build a shared understanding and decide how best to approach a project. Then in lesson 3, we learn how to plan the project. So we'll go through the steps you'll take to plan your scope, schedule, budget, resources, risk, and how to manage the quality of your project. Next, one of my favorites, leading the team. So in lesson 4, we'll focus on your skills, your leadership skills as a project leader. Excuse me. Lesson 5 then, how do we support the project team? How do you get the best performance from your project team, right? Here we'll discuss tools, techniques, as well as further diving deep into leadership skills that will allow you to do that. And then finally, how do we close the project? Or for some of these big projects, you may close out a phase. There'd be multiple phases in the project. How do you close out that phase, right? Finally, we discuss how and when to close a project or phase, and then what very important topic here of benefits realization. So what does that mean? So this is essentially 6 lessons if you were to, whether it's self-study, self-paced, or to go through a professional exam prep, you would go through these 6 lessons in preparation for the exam. All right, let's talk about navigating through the actual application process. What do you do if you want to get started, right? And we're going to transition to questions really soon. So we'll give you folks a time to raise your hands and voice your concerns, questions. First step, create a PMI account at PMI.org. If you folks are members of a local chapter, awesome news. You're already kind of taking care of this first step. We want to then proceed on to create the online application. So after we log in, we can jump right into starting the application. Then you go forth and document your project management experience and education. If you folks are looking for some assistance, we are looking to coordinate a application or project management PMP application workshop where we'll help you with that kind of effort. So we'll please be on the lookout with some of the updates from the events from the local chapter here. And then finally, after the application is submitted with your relevant experience, you'll be prompted to pay a application fee so you can sign up for the test. And if you take notice, there's a significant difference between the member and non-member pricing. So the membership with PMI actually, there's a benefit there. So highly encourage, if you're not a member, to do consider that investment, whether it's a personal professional expense or you're getting reimbursed from your employer. Highly encourage you to consider becoming a member now if you weren't, to take advantage of the savings there. As I mentioned, we'll need detailed project descriptions, proof of education, as well as those project management hours. So after you pass the test, right, after the big day, there's ongoing continuing certification requirements. So let's talk about that. On the left-hand side there is a snapshot of a member's dashboard post-certification. So you'll see 60 out of 60, this person has accumulated his or her professional development units over that 3-year period. There's a relevant ID for their credential, notates when they earned. If you notice, there's 2 major categories here, education and giving back, right? So this is a great opportunity. So it's a mix where they want you to be not just doing self-learning through online courses, which is definitely an opportunity. You can do in-person events, attending professional development days and weeks like the one that this lovely chapter is putting on does qualify for PDUs as well. So giving back, my next transition point, aside from studying and getting ongoing education, whether it be about agile delivery mechanisms or frameworks, program, portfolio management, well, you can actually do what I'm doing today. You could do a presentation. You can mentor another new member, part of the chapter. You can volunteer, right? What I have posted on the right-hand side is a little blurb from the Puget Sound chapter, and just kind of on behalf of the board and the leadership team, they're cordially inviting all of you to participate and get involved. Maybe start off in a smaller scoped volunteer role where you're part of a committee and you can be mentored by someone that's been on the board or been on the committee for a longer period of time. So that's just naturally how we operate within the PMI global system. And I did take note of the email address that you can reach out to if you're unsure what you want to do. Reach out to that email address and they will be in contact with you and kind of understand your interests and what kind of gets you excited. So we'll match you with the right team. So yes, your PMP journey doesn't stop after you get certified. It's kind of ongoing, and it's going to be a lifelong journey. I got my PMP well over 10 years ago and still just as jazzed and excited as when I got certified. So to summarize the formal kind of information here, we need to verify eligibility requirements, right? Which are your education experience. We need to do an application, which requires detailed documentation. Again, be on the lookout for the call out for a application prep workshop so we can help you with that. You don't have to do this by yourself. Effective test preparation requires good study resources and time management. So kind of work backwards. And that's why I kind of asked the question of the team, when did you want to get certified? We can help you create a plan to work backward from your certification goals. Maintaining certification. So after you get certified, yes, it's still a journey. So we will continue to find opportunities within the Puget Sound chapter, as well as any other chapters you could be part of. If you're part of just the global membership, there's opportunities and resources for you as part of your membership. So with that said, I think it behooves us to kind of move into Q&A, which I think is very valuable, and hopefully what you folks are seeking from this session. If there's any questions at all, we'll be happy to answer them. I'm not too sure if we can just take yourself off mute and ask questions.
Hey, Ben.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi. I was just reading some of the comments in here, and Mary was saying that she is getting ready to take her PMP next month, in Bellingham. So I just wanted to
Nice.
congrats
Yeah.
for scheduling that.
Yeah, exciting, Mary. I'm not too sure if you started prepping for your exam. If I'm not too sure if you have, if you have not, we do have some resources. Conveniently, I put them up on the screen here. Wendy and the team putting on a great production here. We'll make sure that these slides will be available to you as a participant. So we do have a PMP bootcamp that's actually scheduled to start later this month. Not too sure if that works for you. We also have a CAPM and PMP study group. And if you're already doing self-directed study, I'd be happy to share some additional resources like test prep if you're already into preparation. So feel free to connect with me, and I'm happy to provide additional insights if you would like that feedback. And this is an open invite to anyone on this call, obviously. Or if you're watching this as a re-recording, my contact information and QR code are available to you folks if you want to reach out to me. Any other questions at this time? Is everyone certified on this call?
Hey, it looks like Mary's here.
Yeah, I got the advice if you take the practice test, once you continually test above 80%, then you're probably golden to sit for the test. Is that pretty accurate, would you say?
That is a great goal to strive for. And I know this is on a recorded call line. I'm not supposed to solicit or post actual passing percentages, but in years past, at least the last decade, I've seen folks kind of pass with that 70 to 73% kind of range. So if you are consistently getting 80% on your practice exams, you are definitely in good shape and should feel confident about scheduling your exam and executing on the day of exam. Yeah. One thing that I did want to note to you, Mary, as well as everyone on the call, because the exam is 230 minutes, let's just say 4 hours, when you look at where the testing centers are, one, you need to plan out your commute. So if you don't have to drive or you can get dropped off, that would be really great. There's really two options for times. You can take it first thing in the morning or after lunch because of the time commitment. So popular slots tend to be the weekends. So those tend to fill up fast. So just kind of work backwards from that. And personally, I think getting it over with in the first half of the day is really good because you can go back to work, you can enjoy the rest of the day off. But just be mindful that slots do tend to fill up quickly. So if you are, once you submit your application and you get approved, you may have to wait a few weeks before you can take your exam due to availability of those slots. Because folks that are going for their CPAs or sitting for their LSATs, pursuing their law degree, they would be also valid test takers at those professional testing centers.
Hey, Ben, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So I know that you are a ATP. Can
Yes.
you tell our audience what that is? And yeah, can I explain?
Sure. Happy to go through that. I don't know if you can see this pin here. Probably not that great.
Yeah.
I got this recently for being an authorized training partner. So authorized training partners is a program that PMI has set up at a global level to ensure a certain standard is met in terms of administering the highest bar of education and framework that aligns to the current PMI body of book of knowledge, so also referred to as the PMBOK. So what that does is it eliminates these potential courses that may be available to you at a discounted price or replicated without PMI's permission. But most importantly, you're ensured that you are getting trained with a qualified instructor, qualified team that's giving you the right type of information to help you pass the exam. And that's really all that is. So great question, Wendy. There are ATPs or authorized training providers, as well as the instructors on these teams, do go through a rigorous application process audit where their training is audited by potentially any PMI global team member. And yeah, it's not a fun process, but folks go through with it to ensure that high bar. And I commend the local chapter for partnering with a fellow ATP to ensure that bar is maintained for the collective membership. Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to add that I did do a boot camp with an ATP provider, and you get more resources that's directly from PMI. So, you know, with the process that Ben will be doing with the boot camp he has, you'll have access to a locker. It's called a locker or something.
Yeah. Thanks for that segue, Wendy. So aside from the ability to have your own electronic copy of the project management book of knowledge, as you saw previously, the exam content outline with the 6 lessons. So all of the collateral in a 35-hour exam prep course would be made available to you in terms of a slide deck with instructor and student notes. You'll have the ability to do exercises with the instructor. We'll also have a list of glossary that you can glossary of terms that you can leverage to accompany your project management certification journey. And what I think is most important, most key, is access to, as Wendy alluded, like a locker, like a virtual locker. Think of it as a student portal where you have access to practice exam questions, like a question bank that mimics, in terms of difficulty, look and feel, user experience, what you would experience on the day of the test. So I think Mary had a question about the passing rate. So yeah, getting scores of 80% and above will definitely build that confidence to allow you to feel confident to pass the exam on the first try.
All right. I do see a comment here from Elizabeth. Slide is not clickable. How do I access these two?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Very great observation, Elizabeth. I did not link them specifically here, mainly because the 2 that I'm showing currently on the screen are specific to October. However, I will hyperlink them and make these slides available shortly after this session. So I apologize for the delay on that. However, this does allow me to go back to the PMI Puget Sound chapter homepage and then search events, because they will show the latest and greatest events, especially if you're coming back later to watch this session as a pre-recorded reference. It may be in November, December. The latest and greatest events will be available on their homepage. So just wanted to call that out. Thank you for that. Any other questions, folks? I'm really excited for those of you, whether you're doing this journey with PMI Puget Sound chapter or on your own, just understand that you're not alone. This is a very tough hill to climb. For folks on the call that have been certified, they can attest to it. But just understand that your local PMI community here in state does have resources for you. We can talk to you. If you have not begun the journey and thinking about it, last pitch here, do be on the lookout as the chapter pushes out a application prep workshop session. And we can help you on that piece of the journey as you prepare for certification. Well, if nothing else, do want to do one last call for questions. If not, we can kind of wrap this up. I hope we have a short break after this before your next wonderful speaker. Really excited again to be here with the Puget Sound Professional Development Days. You still have 2 great days of fun-filled and exciting sessions. Do enjoy it, reflect, and do reach back out to the respective speakers, add them on LinkedIn, send them questions. And again, your board is there to support you. That's why they're here. So do reach out to them as well. If you have any additional follow-ups and you're not sure where to direct them, just reach out to one of the officers. Reach out to me. We're happy to direct you and connect you with the right folks.
So we do have another question. What is the difference between requirements of PMP and CAPM?
Oh my God, I totally missed that. So I apologize. Great question, Elizabeth. So what I covered in terms of the questions were specifically for the project management professional. First off, the boot camp and the exam prep. If you don't meet the professional experience requirements, you can sit for the certified associate in project management. So this one has no work experience requirement. However, it is still a professional designation recognized by PMI. It's one of the CAPM or CAPM is a certified PMI certification. So think of if you're in a project coordinator role, project analyst, or newer to the workforce, and you just want to get started with your certification journey, the CAPM is a great ideal certification for folks earlier in their career or newer to project management. So that's a differentiation there. If you go through the boot camp, it does prep you for the CAPM as well. And you may be pleased to hear that the number of questions are greatly reduced. Just think about it as about half the time, half the amount of questions. Hopefully that helps answer your question there.
Elizabeth is
it a springboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not mutually exclusive. And what I mean by that is you can get the CAPM and continue working, but it is a natural progression, if you would. The hope, at least I have for you as a fellow a member in the community, is that if you accomplish the CAPM, that in itself is a great feat. As you get towards the professional experience of the 3 and 5 year marks, I highly encourage you to consider taking that additional step of getting that PMP. And actually, just earlier today, I received an email from a cohort that I had taught back in July. She had a CAPM. She's a practicing senior project manager, second career, and then she just got her PMP today. So it is very much on, should be on your journey and roadmap in terms of career. Thank you for that. That was a great question.
So I have a question for you, Ben.
Sure.
So, I have my PMP, and
yes.
I just want to find out what advice do you have for the next certification that I can, go towards.
Oh, Wendy, that's just a great question. I will caveat this. I am not a career coach. However, on my journey of project, program, and portfolio management, even if you think in the structure of how a traditional project management office works, there's so many career paths, and believe it or not, we will cover it as part of the class. However, just to address your question, there's many things that are complementary to the PMP certification. For example, within the PMBOK itself, we introduce agile methodologies, right? We introduce Lean and Six Sigma concepts. So just that alone, I can easily endorse some of those complementary disciplines, whether it be Scrum frameworks, agile frameworks, perhaps a Lean or Six Sigma green or black belt course, depending on your experience. Those are just some low-hanging fruit that I think would complement what we as project leaders and practitioners already do today. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. Okay, awesome.
And just to tag on to that, if you are really heavy into the leaders of leaders kind of concept, and what I mean by that is you're already at such a senior level that you're managing large multi-million-dollar projects, or you're mentoring other project managers, or you're managing programs of portfolios of projects and operations, you may be interested in learning more about the program management professional or the portfolio management professional. And that if there's enough interest, we can certainly talk to the chapter about hosting one of those
Oh yeah, sure.
prep courses. So those are additional, what we call more advanced certifications in the PMI certification family of offerings. So that's the PGMP for Program Management Professional and the PFMP or Portfolio Management Professional. So those could be on your roadmap. They don't have to be, but those are out there for you.
So Kate has a question. What black belt course would you recommend? And where would I find training for program or portfolio certifications?
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Great questions. I'll start by talking about the black belt course. So with the PMI, PMP, there's, we're really, PMI in itself is the leader with project, program, portfolio management globally. For Six Sigma or Lean Black Belt courses, there are many offerings out there. ASQ, the Association of Society of Quality, that's probably globally the front runner, if you would. There could be programs, and I say that with hesitation because there's so many unique boutique programs that work really, really well. It just depends on what fits your schedule and needs. And maybe that's something, Wendy, we could potentially talk about over a lunch and learn about Lean and Six Sigma, if that's an interesting topic that folks would like to dive deep into. I am a certified black belt myself, so I've helped folks get certified on their green belt or black belt, and believe it or not, both will require a project to be improved from that lens of process improvement and removing waste. So it's very complementary to what we do as project professionals. And to Kate, your second question, where can I find training for program portfolio certifications? If you want to learn about the certifications themselves at a high level, like what type of experience do I meet the requirements, those are readily available in terms of a certification description at PMI.org. If there is enough local interest, we could potentially look at partnering with a trainer to put that available in state. However, if you want to self-study, those resources are available on PMI.org as well. Cool. Thank you for that, Kate. Really appreciate it.
And just one maybe last roundup question. What other training certifications that you offer?
That I offer? Well,
all the types of trainings that you do.
Sure. So we do this PMP exam prep bootcamp, which is very popular. We also do a 2 half-day PM foundations or fundamentals, which is great for folks newer to project management. We get a little bit of hands-on work, like creating a charter, or creating a work breakdown structure, creating your first project schedule, managing an issue risk log, things like that. So it's a real hands-on workshop style. And in that same vein, we do a Scrum Master and Product Owner, kind of 2 half-day workshop as well, where you'll learn about the principles of Agile, what it means to be Agile, if you would, the key roles in an adaptive framework. How do you navigate in a hybrid project environment, but want to deliver quicker? So we have both the Scrum Master centric workshop as well as the Product Owner centric workshop, where you learn how to create the key deliverables, like a product roadmap, product vision, and run the Agile ceremonies. So those are definitely offerings we could potentially look to provide to the membership if there's interest for that.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah. Well, thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah. I think we're close to time. Wendy and team, I really enjoyed the camaraderie, the interaction, questions, and I look forward to seeing you folks, if not at the bootcamp, definitely at the next chapter event. And please stay in touch, add me to your network, and happy to be a resource to any and all of you. And as I mentioned earlier, the collateral will be available after the session. I hope you folks enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, and this professional development days. It's going to be a blast.
Great. Thank you so much, Ben.
Take care, folks. Bye.
Bye.